Alf Ramsey will forever be known as the man who won England their first, and to date only, World Cup. But lifting the Jules Rimet trophy was not his only great achievement. In 1955, Alf Ramsey was appointed the manager of 3rd Division side Ipswich Town. By the end of his time at the club, he had taken them to incredible heights, achieving things nobody could have expected. This is the story of Alf Ramsey, the Ipswich Years. In 1955, Alf Ramsey's career as a player was coming to an end. He was being phased out of the Tottenham team and decided he would stay in football, but as a coach. He spent the 1955 pre-season coaching in South Rhodesia before Ipswich Town got in touch with him. The Tractor Boys initially wanted Ramsey as a player-manager. Alf Ramsey refused this offer, however, stating he wanted to focus on one thing, and combining these two trades would not be possible. Ipswich accepted Ramsey's alterations and announced him as their manager in August 1955. Ipswich had just been relegated from the 2nd Division of English football, which at that point had been their sole season above the 3rd tier of the Football League. Ipswich were an unglamorous side, with a small stadium, little money, and they had only been in the Football League for 18 years. Ramsey attempted to make the most of what he had inherited, and his impact was plain to see. In Alf Ramsey's first season in charge, Ipswich finished in 3rd place in the old 3rd Division and scored 106 goals in the process. The next season, they went one better and won the 3rd Division title to seal promotion to the 2nd tier, once again netting over 100 goals. This time, Ipswich would not be going straight back down from the 2nd tier. For 3 consecutive seasons, they were able to achieve solid mid-table finishes in the 2nd Division. An excellent achievement for a club who before had been relegated in their only season in the 2nd tier. After 3 years of successive mid-table finishes, the only way was up for Alf Ramsey's side. In the 1960-1961 season, they won the 2nd Division title and sealed promotion to the top tier of English football for the first ever time. They once again did so by storm, scoring exactly 100 league goals, and 70 of these came from the partnership of Ray Crawford and Ted Phillips, with Crawford netting 40 and Phillips netting 30. Ramsey had built a great side around this partnership, along with central midfielder Jimmy Leadbitter. The odds were not in favour of Ipswich though. They were heavily tipped for relegation, and the entire team had only cost £30,000. They qualified for the Community Shield against Tottenham, as Spurs had won the league and cup double, so Ipswich were granted entry as 2nd Division champions. Bill Nicholson's Spurs ran out as 5-1 winners. Ipswich's first ever top-flight game was away to Bolton, which finished in a goalless draw. Their next game came away to Burnley. Despite Ipswich losing 4-3, Alf Ramsey said it was the best performance he had seen from his side since being appointed manager. They would lose their next game against Man City, but finally clicked into gear when they faced Burnley again in the next game. Ipswich secured their first ever top-flight win in style with a 6-2 victory. The win was the start of a 4-game winning run that helped move them up the table. Over the next few months, they did experience a couple of defeats and would crash out of both cup competitions, but this was made up for with impressive results. Their goal-scoring acumen was consistently being displayed, with them netting 4 against the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, West Ham, Manchester United, and a thumping 5-2 win against Chelsea, which included a Ray Crawford hat-trick. The month of February started with a 4-2 win over Everton, and the Tractor Boys would go through the months of February and March unbeaten, only dropping points on 3 occasions. They were 2 points ahead of second place Burnley, but the Clarets had 4 games in hand. Ipswich would hit a wall though, with a visit to Old Trafford. The Red Devils defeated Ipswich by 5-0, putting a major dent in Ramsey's title hopes. Fortunately, Ipswich recovered, defeating Cardiff 1-0 the next week. They drew their next 2, but title rivals Burnley were in terrible form, winning just 1 of their 7 fixtures in April. Ipswich faced Arsenal in their penultimate league fixture. With their squad exhausted, John Ellsworthy and Doug Moran both required painkillers to play. Ipswich took the lead through Ted Phillips in the 13th minute, and only 4 minutes later, Ray Crawford doubled their advantage. Crawford would later net a second to seal a 3-0 win for Ipswich. Their final game was at home to Aston Villa, where they had a golden opportunity to seal the title. The game remained goalless for a long period of time, leaving the Portman crowd and Ramsey nervous. But in the 72nd minute, Ray Crawford netted a rebound to put Ipswich ahead, and only 4 minutes later, he scored again to double Ipswich's lead. Burnley had drawn their game against Chelsea, which confirmed Ipswich as First Division champions. It was an achievement unimaginable at the start of the campaign. Ipswich were the first team to win an English top-flight title in their debut First Division campaign since Preston North End won the first ever Old First Division title in 1889. Ramsey had taken a team languishing in the third tier of English football and through sheer determination had turned them into champions of England within 7 years. Yet again, they had stormed to a title in style, with Ray Crawford netting 37 goals in all competitions, Ted Phillips 36 and Doug Moran 18. Ipswich would now partake in their first ever European campaign in the next season. They stormed to a 14-1 aggregate victory over Maltese side Floriana in the first round, but would lose 4-2 on aggregate to Nereo Rocco's AC Milan in the next round, who would go on to win the European Cup themselves. Their title defence was poor, as they finished 17th in the league. It would also be the end of Ramsey's time at Ipswich. He had agreed to join England as their manager, effective from May 1963, and so he left Portman Road to take charge of his country. The next season, Ipswich were relegated from the top flight. Alf Ramsey's First Division title with Ipswich is one of the most unlikely triumphs in football history. Ramsey took over a side without the slightest hint of major glory in their history, and using the resources he had, took them to an unprecedented First Division title. Whilst this victory in the 1966 World Cup will forever overshadow his incredible work at Portman Road, what he achieved with Ipswich is a footballing miracle, and deserves to be spoken about just as much as Clough's work at Nottingham Forest, or Leicester's title in 2016.